Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Melissa and around here you're going to find all sorts of beauty content. And today's video is really fun. This is my favorite video to film all month long. This is my monthly makeup routine, Declutter. So at the beginning of the month, I go through my entire makeup collection and pick a few products from each category. And throughout the entirety of the month, I really get to know each product in depth. And now's the time I come back to you and give you my reviews on each individual product. And as I'm giving you the reviews, I'm going to try everything on my face and tell you whether I'm going to keep it in my collection or if I'm going to get rid of it. Now, I cannot in any part guarantee you that the look we're going to be creating today is going to be cohesive. Because when I do pick these products, I just pick things at random, so things just really don't match. But nonetheless, we're going to put some type of look together, and I'm going to do a pretty heavy application so you can see how everything really looks applied to my face. And I got my whole big bag of makeup here, so I'm ready to get started. Now, as for what I'm starting with on my face, I do have a little bit of skincare on before we get into the makeup, and I always like to go over what my current monthly skincare routine is, like right before I get started with my makeup. So the first thing I've been using is from Kate Somerville, and this is her Retinol Firming Eye Cream. And I've talked about this eye cream a lot already. You all know that I really like this one, so I'm just currently working on finishing this up. And then the second thing I've been breaking into is a new product for me, and this is from LYS Beauty, and it's the Think Bright Glow and Hydrate Serum. And I've actually really been enjoying this. It has a bit of a glow in there, and it does have a little shimmer particles, and I love me a shimmer, so this is kind of exciting, and I have been enjoying this so far. And then my next step is this cream from Kat Burke Skincare, and this is her Vitamin C Intensive Face Cream, and I am just about done with this, and this is such a lovely face cream. It's not often that I find myself finishing a moisturizer, but I really just enjoy this, so here's to this one. And then my last applied step is generally an oil, so I've been using this little one from Biossance, and this is their Squalene Vitamin C Rose Oil, and I think this is their best-selling product, so I was really intrigued by this. And if you ask me, I don't find anything really spectacular about it. It doesn't really stand out to me beyond any other oil that I've ever used before, but it is a good oil. It works just like it's supposed to, so I'm not mad at it. I've only got a little bit left, so I'm definitely gonna be finishing this up soon. So that's all my current skincare that I'm working through. Let's get started with the makeup. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and apply our base routine, and I have 3 products for that today. I have 2 primers and a lip prep step. So the first primer I'm going to take is from Freck Beauty, and this is actually called their Rich Bitch Moisturizer. However, I find this moisturizer to work excellent as a primer. It has this really cool metal packaging so you can really see how much you use, and I love packagings like that. And with this moisturizer, you just need the smallest amount, and it goes a really long way. So I just have some in my hand, and I'm going to distribute it between both hands and just kind of rub that all over my entire face as my base primer. This has a really floral smell to it. If you do not like the smell of floral, you will definitely not like this. I'll say it's really not my favorite scent, but I like the product enough to kind of look the other way. There's no ingredients list on the back of here, so I can't see what's in it, but it feels like there's some silicones in this formula. That's why I think it makes a really great primer, because it does an overall smoothing of the skin for a great base primer. I am most definitely going to keep this in my collection and continue using this. I love this stuff. Next up, I have my pore filling primer from Revlon, and this has a long name. It's called the Fill Plus Blur Primer for your face and your neck. Now, I've never used this on my neck, but apparently you can, and I also believe they sell one specifically for your forehead as well. I've never tried that one. I've only tried this one. And this kind of has a weird packaging. It has this little lid that you have to keep in so the little top part doesn't get clogged. And the way you dispense it is you push on the bottom, and it does come out of the top. So I never apply this directly to my face. I just kind of take my finger and pull off the amount that I need and tap it into place. And I just apply this directly over my pores and my texture. There's absolutely no scent to this product. It's super easy to use. So when I first got this product, I was pretty much set that I wasn't gonna like it just because the packaging is kind of obnoxious. But the more I've been using it, the more I can't get enough of it. I really think it looks beautiful under makeup. It does amazing things for my pores too. It creates a completely smooth base. I have a lot of pores right above my lip right here, and when I just pat it into that area, it's like it just completely erases it. I did personally get this in a subscription box, so I don't know about the current availability of this, but if you can find this, this is a total recommend. As for right now, I am keeping this in my collection and gonna continue using this. And for the last step of my base routine, this is one of my most favorite products that I've discovered this month. This is from Skin Chemist and it's called the Hyaluronic Anti-Aging Lip Plump. I think that's quite a confusing name because this doesn't really plump your lips and it doesn't even give you that tingling sensation whatsoever. But this is just a fantastic lip treatment in general and I have used it so much. I've used up quite a bit of the product itself and I got this when it was brand new. It does have that traditional doe foot on there and I do find myself having to dip in multiple times just for one application. If that bothers you, then please note that. My favorite thing about this lip treatment is it smells exactly like candy canes. It is so delightful. So here's what it looks like, and for the majority of time this month, I have worn this on its own, and I have applied this multiple times throughout the day, and I've brought it with me when I've went somewhere. But I've also used this over the top of a lip liner, and I love the way it looks like that too. I just love the way it makes my lips look, and it smells so good. So I'm definitely going to keep this in my collection and look forward to continue using this. Guys, I had so many good products this month, and this is another one of the best finds that I had. This is from Black Radiance Beauty, and this is the Color Perfect Liquid Makeup Foundation. Now, the shade range for this foundation is pretty minimal, to be honest with you, but if you can find your shade, this is so good. It does have a little double cap on here, so this is just kind of for decoration. And then you twist this part off, and inside you have a little plastic spatula applicator. So with this foundation, I found out that you can just go ahead and apply it to your whole face without the risk of it drying too fast and having it streak on you. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dot this all over my face just for a little coverage here. I'm taking a brush to blend this out. You can also use a sponge with it, but when you use a brush, you get a better coverage level. I found that you get about a medium coverage level with a brush, but when you use a sponge, you get a light coverage level. So just depending on what you're feeling for that day, you can use that, certain tool to get the coverage that you need. I did a full 12-hour wear test on this, and this foundation lasted me the full 12 hours without any sort of breaking up, bunching in my lines, any sort of wear off or anything. It was a fantastic wear. This foundation also doesn't oxidize in the slightest, so it's very easy to find the proper shade that you need and go exactly with that shade. Okay, so here's how the foundation looks applied to my face. It lays so well over my pores and texture. I'm just amazed by it every time I apply it. Like I said, it's about a medium coverage level. I can still see some redness and see through to some dark spots on my face, but I do like the overall coverage that it gives. It just looks so even and smooth, and I love that it wears like this throughout the entirety of the day. The great thing about this is that it only costs $4, and this is on par with some of my luxury foundation formulas. If you've never tried this, this is a must-have, and I'm definitely keeping this in my collection. Continuing on with the complexion, my little concealer for this month is from Tarte Cosmetics, and it's their Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. I do have mine in the shade 29N Light Medium, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply a little bit to my under eye area to get rid of some of these dark circles we have going on here. And I'm going to use a brush to blend this out. Now, I've always been a fan of the original Shape Tape, so Ultra Creamy just sounded even better to me, and I do really like it. I find it very easy to blend, yet it still maintains its coverage. It does a great job of brightening up my under eye while still covering my dark circles that I do want to cover. I will say one thing that I found it completely useless for though is spot concealing. If I applied it to one of my spots up here and kind of let it sit for a few minutes to gain traction and then blended it out, it would just completely blend away. So while I did like how this worked on my under eye area, I did not like this on my face. So I'm still going to hang on to this and use this deliberately for under eye use only. Now, of course, to finish up the complexion, I do have some setting powder, but before we get into this, let's do the cream products first. So first, we're going to go in with our cream bronzer, and I cannot wait to tell you about this, guys. This is from a brand called Chibes. Now, I bought this on eBay quite a long time ago, so I don't know where it's available now, but this is probably my most favorite cream bronzer in my entire makeup collection. Here's what it looks like, and let me give you a quick swatch of this. The actual product in here is beyond creamy. Here's what that color looks like swatched out, and you can see how it has that really warm orange tone to it. Now, I like this because it does have that orange tone. I know a lot of people tend to stay away from orange tone bronzers, but not me. I want different bronzers in my collection. I don't want to have 15 of the same types of bronzer, so this really stands out as being unique in my personal collection. So the way that I apply this is I just take my finger and I just put a few dots on the area that I want to bronze. And then I take my little flat top brush and I just blend it out by tapping it in. And this bronzer just blends its own self out. So here's how my cream bronzer looks. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to the rest of my face so we can get the whole picture of what this can do. So here's the full scope of that bronzer, and I can't tell you how much I enjoy applying this and just overall how it looks. I think it gives a completely flawless application. There's no skipping, no patching, nothing, no issues that you don't wanna encounter while you're using something like this. And the good thing is that this is super cheap, so I was just really impressed when I started using this. And of course, since this is my most favorite cream bronzer in my entire collection, I will not be getting rid of this. Now for blush, we have this Glossier Cloud Paint in the shade Eve, and here's that color. I kind of made a mistake buying this color. This is a very deep color, so I have to be really careful with how I use this one. Having used this over the course of this last month though, I will say that I do like this for the same reason I like the bronzer though, that this is unique to my collection. I don't have any other blushes, be it cream or powder, that are this color. So this gives me a completely different look than anything else that I have. So the way that I've been using this is I just squeeze a little bit out of the top right here, and a little bit comes out of the top by itself and rests on the little ledge right there, and I just take my finger and swipe it, and I just dot it onto the area where I blush just about twice like that. And then I take my brush and I kind of pat it around, swirl, just enough to blend this out. You'll be surprised at how light this actually looks once you blend it out. 'Cause I know I was. So here's that color. I know I'm doing kind of fast application today because I just want to show you these products, but isn't that crazy? From that really dark burgundy color that we started with, it comes out to this once you blend it. Of course, you can wear this darker and more pigmented if you don't blend it as much, or if you build it up with some more product. It just depends what you're looking for at that time. Like I said, I am going pretty heavy with this application so you can see how all the colors look on my face, and we're going to be putting setting powder over the top of this. So I am going to keep this in my current collection, but this is a product that's on the chopping block. If I don't pull for this in a short time, then I am just going to go ahead and get rid of this. And when that time comes, I will let you guys know about it. And now for highlighter, I have one of the Hourglass Vanish Stick highlighters. Now I have mine in the shade Gold Flash. So when I first got this, I was like, I kind of don't really like gold tone highlighters, but the more I've been using this, I cannot believe how beautiful this is on the skin. This is one of those highlighters that really don't have a base pigment, so all you see on your cheek is the sparkle and shine. So the way I apply this is just take my brush and kind of fluff it over the top of this little triangle right here. If you apply this stick directly to your cheek, it will pull up your base product. So if you take this on your sponge or your brush, doing it this way will give you a better application for sure. So then I just take it and apply it to my little highlight place. And I must say, when you look at it applied, you don't really see a bunch of that gold tone that it has. It just looks like a highlight, and I love it. I will be keeping this in my collection. Now it's time to go in and set my entire face with some setting powder. And for that, I have the Viseart Seamless Setting Powder in the translucent shade. So here's what that looks like, and it is a very white powder, and it almost feels like an HD powder, that very soft, silky, powdered sugar-like feel. And this lid has a stopper on it, so it's very difficult to pour it into the lid and use it like that. So you really have to take your brush and dip it into the actual powder. This is a very messy powder since you have to actually dip into it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and set my entire base. Now, I love how this powder looks all over my face. I think it does a great job at setting and smoothing and mattifying, but I do not like how this powder works on my under eye area. I find that the longer I wear this, it just completely breaks up in my under eye creases, and I just don't like it. The drugstore powders that I swear by don't do that, so I think a setting powder that costs this much shouldn't do that at all, so that kind of makes me mad about it. But I do love how this looks on my face, so I'm really conflicted about this, and for the time being, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep this. Now we're getting into all of our powdered facial shaping steps, and I'm excited to show you what I have here for this time. The first thing is from Morphe, and this is called their Glamour Bronze Face and Body Bronzer. And since this is a body bronzer, it's this huge pan bronzer. I wouldn't say that this tone necessarily leans any sort of way. This is a very neutral tone. It's in the shade Iconic. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply it to my usual bronzing spot. Just get some extra little warmth on my skin. I am well aware that we don't need all these products layered on top of each other, but we're just having fun, and I'm trying to show you how all these things look at once. So yeah, I don't find anything wrong with this. I've enjoyed using it over the course of the month, and I think it looks just fine applied to my skin, and it's given me no issues whatsoever. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. Now for our blush, we have this one from Miss Rose Professional Makeup, and this one kind of makes me sad because I love most of the things I try from this brand, but this blush just wasn't it for me. Now this is kind of a stiffer powder. When you put your brush in here, there is absolutely no kickback whatsoever. And you kind of have to swirl your brush in a little bit extra to make sure you have enough buildup on your brush. But once you put your brush onto your skin, you'll notice the color payoff. So I just apply it into the general area of where I want to put it. And the thing with this one is, since it's such a stiff formula, I have trouble getting it to blend out the way I want it to. When all is said and done, I kind of get it to a place where I like it, but it just takes a lot of effort to get there. And that's why I'm doing this series, is I'm trying to get rid of products in my collection that are like that. I love the color of this blush. I love everything about it, except that it's just not the easiest thing to work with, and I don't want to pull out a blush and have to fuss with it every single time I use it. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. Now for a highlighter, I have this very rare gem from Laura Mercier, and this is the Baked Blush Illuminate in the shade Rosé. Now technically, I think this is a blush, but it really doesn't work for a blush for me. It kind of gives you just a real hint of pigment, but this really looks just like a highlighter, so that's what I use it for personally. So you can even see in the swatch just how much of a highlighter it kind of looks like. This is also a super messy product, so if you're trying to keep your makeup clean, this is one you really need to keep on top of. And when you apply this, you'll just be amazed. It is super pretty on the skin. And like the other highlighter I use, this is a very sheer base, so this will work on a plethora of skin tones. It is so pretty. I will certainly be keeping this in my collection. And lastly, for the face, I have this In Beauty Project Power Up Setting Mist. And now with this mist, you have to shake it because it is dual face, so you have two layers that you need to mix up for it to work properly. This is another product that I'm conflicted about because when I used it this month, I was all the way at the top and I've used more than half of it already. But the sprayer on this thing is pretty horrible, I'd say. It kind of comes out in two different streams and kind of soaks your face very unevenly. But the scent on this is to absolutely die for. It smells like fresh limes that are so heavenly, I just can't get enough of it. I'm a big scent person, so when something smells good, I just want to keep using it and using it. And that's how I feel about this. Except when I actually use it, the application process is a nightmare. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to my face to set my makeup in place. Truth be told, I despise the packaging of this, but I really just can't get rid of this because it smells so good and it makes me happy every time I use this. So I am gonna keep this in my collection. Alright guys, now we're on to the smaller areas in my face, like my brows, my eyes, stuff like that. So let's get into that. So for my brows, I have 3 products like usual. I have a pencil, a gel, and a pomade. So let me tell you about all these things. First, we're going to start with this Hourglass Arch Brow Pencil. And on one side, you get a spoolie, and on the other side, you get this little oval tipped pencil. And my feelings on this are pretty blunt, okay? For the price, it is absolutely 100% not worth the price. I love a little micro tip brow pencil, but the oval shape of this one makes it very difficult to control because you don't know if the oval's pointing up and down or sideways. To get a straight line, you need the oval pointing sideways, so you're always having to look really close to see which way it's pointing, and I find that particularly annoying. And also, if you're a person that likes to spray and set your face like I do before you do your eyebrows, this pencil does not work good on just set wet eyebrows. it kind of gives you some resistance, and I find myself having to draw over and over again just to get it to show up. Look, if you're a person that likes luxury makeup, and I completely understand that because I love luxury makeup too, and you don't mind spending $30, $40 on a brow pencil, I can name a ton of other ones that are worth the price, and this one just isn't it. So for that reason, I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this eyebrow pencil. Now for pomade, we have this pretty cool one by LA Colors, and this is called their Brow Cream Gel, and I have mine in the shade Soft Brown. And here's what that looks like. It's just a typical pomade. I will say that when I did get this one, it did have a warm brown layer on the top that once I used it, it was gone, and then it looked way more cool tone on the bottom, so that was kind of weird, but here we are. And I got this at Dollar Tree, and it's lasted me quite a long time, but I think it's at its end of its life right now. I'm just taking a little angle brush and dipping into the pomade, and I'm just gonna place this into my eyebrow just to kind of give it a little bit more shape and color. So here's the pomade, and I'm telling you, you can't go wrong with this. This stuff only costs $1, and this performs like the ABH Dip Brow. There's no waxiness to this. There's no particles of chunky wax or anything. You're not gonna come across anything that's gonna make your brows look awful. This is just a really smooth pomade that does exactly what you need it to do. I will say that I guess the only fault I could find in it is that mine didn't last super long because I just got this one maybe, I'd say 8 months ago. Maybe that's the life of a pomade. I always keep my makeup much longer than you're supposed to anyway, but I'm not sure. But at about 8 months, it's I'd say done with. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this, but put this on my repurchase list for sure. Now for brow gel, I have this Good Brow Day by Profusion Cosmetics, and my packaging is super worn off and beat up, and it's even cracked on the lid right here. But there is so much life left in this brow gel, let me tell you. If you're looking for a pigmented brow gel, look no further. This stuff will give you the hold and the pigment that you're looking for. It has that really tiny spoolie, so you can easily get in between every brow, so you can get that perfect brow look. And when this dries, I wouldn't necessarily say it dries crunchy, but it does dry kind of hard. But I personally like that because I know my brows are held in place, and that's what I want a gel to do. I don't want my brow gel to be soft. Another thing to beware about this is the shades run darker than what they say. I got mine in the shade Soft Brown, and the tube looks like it would be a soft brown, but this is really dark, almost an espresso color. So I would definitely go down a shade if you're looking to get this. And like I said, this has a lot of life left in it, and I really want to use this more. Now moving into the eyes, we've got 4 interesting things to talk about. Some were great, some not so great, so let's get into that. So each month I always like to pick out a palette and then an eyeshadow single. So I always have to make some type of look today that incorporates both of these together. So I think I'm gonna do the foundation of an eye look with the palette and then pop this guy onto the lid. So to show you this palette first, this is from Langmani, and this is the Nude Magical palette. So here's what it looks like on the inside. There's no mirror or anything in it. This was, I think, $2. And let me tell you, Langmani's formula, if you could ever find a palette by them, not necessarily this one, but anyone, their formula is really outstanding. I actually love this formula. I find it incredibly easy to use, it looks great, and it lasts a long time on me. But the thing that I don't like about this palette is it's very one-noted. You get about 2 different shades in here because all the mattes look the same and all the shimmers look the same. Even on the eye, they just apply the same. It's just very, very one-noted. And also the deepest shade you get in here is this mid-tone right here, so your variation in here isn't very much. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take this little brown up here and just run this through my crease just to create a little foundation for that single that we're gonna go into. I'm also going to run that same color along my lower lash line. And like I said, these just essentially blend themselves. You don't have to do much work at all. This is a really good eyeshadow formula. As for this specific palette, I'm just going to go ahead and declutter this because, like I said, I'm trying to curate my collection, and since I can only get essentially 2 shadows out of here, I'm going to look for something else by this brand that really suits my preference. Now let's talk about this, shall we? Out of my entire monthly makeup routine, this was my absolute #1 most favorite product. This is from L'Oreal and it's called the Infallible Paints Metallics. Now, I bought this at Dollar Tree. I also bought a few other ones in different shades, but this is still available on Amazon. And I have used this in so many different ways. Although it's just a single metallic shadow, it can work in so many different ways and it is so impressive. My favorite way to wear this was to blend it up a little bit into the crease and to just kind of buffer it out, and then to apply it heavily onto my lid and lower lash line, and it looks so cool. So with this shade, I'm just going to take it on a small brush and apply this onto my lid. No matter what anybody tells you, you can definitely take a shimmery shade up into your crease. They can actually be multifunctional sometimes depending on the shadow. So no doubt am I going to keep this in my collection and continue using this thing. Now for eyeliner, we have this one from D&M Beauty, and admittedly I didn't use this too much. I only used this once or twice throughout this entire month because this is a bright orange liquid liner. But this does have a very easy felt tip on it, and it is really long, so you can get some precision placement with this, and I did really enjoy how pigmented this was. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this to my top lash line. Here's a swatch of the eyeliner, by the way, and here's how it looks applied. I think it does a fantastic job of going over any previously laid down shadow, and I think it looks super cool in contrast with that silver taupe we have laid down. So yeah, since I only have one of these in my collection, I'm just going to keep this in case I need it for anything. And by the way, I forgot to mention that this stuff is absolutely budge proof. It doesn't come off short of scrubbing it with some soap and water. And now lastly for the eyes, we have this MAC mascara, and this is called their Magic Extension Mascara. Now, if I had to pick a product out of this entire makeup routine that I hated the most, it would be this mascara. Here's what the wand looks like, and there's little teeny fibers built into this mascara that are supposed to improve your length of your lashes. There's a very noticeable, highly floral scent to this, and you can definitely smell it while you're applying it to your lashes, and I don't like it whatsoever. Although this wand is kind of a tapered conical wand, I don't think it's really great for the lower lashes. Every time I apply it to my lower lashes, I get a big giant mess. And I also noticed that as I wear this throughout the day, all those little fibers that are built into the formula fall out all over my under eye, and they even go all the way up to my eyebrow, so it just looks terrible. So when I apply mascara, I can usually control where I want to place my lashes, and this mascara doesn't allow me the ability to do that. It kind of just places where it wants it to go and stays there. So in no way, shape, or form do I like this mascara, and I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. Now for lip products, I'm going to go ahead and show you all 4 lip products that we have, and I'm going to try each one on for you. The first thing we have is from LA Girl Cosmetics, and this is called their Perfect Precision Lip Liner. And let me tell you, if you're looking for a lip liner, this is the one to get. These are only $2.99 and they're fan-freaking-tastic. Now, I know lip liners are kind of hard to buy online because the shades are never right, and even with this one, this shade is kind of different than what you actually get on your lips. The shade that you get on your lips is definitely more lighter in tone than what this appears to be. But at $2.99, I'm going to go ahead and pick up some other ones of these because I just love this formula. So here's what this lip liner looks like applied. It's definitely not my tone, it's way too light for me. But I have been using this to kind of shape up some deeper lip colors, and I've really been enjoying it for that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this in my lip liner collection. I also have this L'Oreal lip balm, and this is the color 170 Luminous Coral. And here's what this one looks like. So I wore this a couple times throughout the month, and every time I wore it, I kind of hated how it looked. And I also don't like how this smells or tastes. And it's kind of sad because I really wanted to love this one because I love most of L'Oreal's products, but this one just didn't work out for me, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. Now we have this Mega Cushion Soft Matte Lip Cream from Wet n Wild, and this is in the shade Melon It Like It Is. And this is one of those things with a little soft cushion on top, and this formula is so tough to get out of the top. Is almost impossible, I'd say. So I finally got some out of the top, and the way I like to apply this is to take it on my finger and just tap it onto the center of both of my lips. And I've worn this a lot throughout the month, and I've always liked it, and I thought it looked really cool, but the thing is, this is so hard to use, and it makes me mad every time. Since I'm curating my collection, don't want products like that, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. And lastly, we have this liquid lipstick duo by Galactic in the shade Sweet. So you have one dark red shade and then one light pink. So the way that I'm going to apply this is I'm going to do my outer corners with the dark red and then do my interior with the light pink. So when you open it up, you get a standard doe foot on each side. And this smells very heavily of vanilla. Okay guys, so here's how this lip duo looks, and I'm just not crazy about this one either. Every time I wore this one, I took it off. I don't like these two shades combined. I don't like each one on its own. This is just not for me, and it's really sad because this is one of my most favorite brands. So I'm also gonna go ahead and declutter this. Alright guys, so here's the final finished look, and like I said, we got something that doesn't match whatsoever, but this is what we came up with, and I had a bunch of fun showing you how each one of these products worked. And let me get you the final count of what we decluttered. So for this time around, we're getting rid of 8 products, and if you want to see any of the final totals or percentages, then go ahead and look in the description box because I'll have all that information located down there. But as for right now, 8 products it is. And last thing guys, don't forget that tomorrow we're starting Vlogmas, so stay tuned for the first video that's coming out tomorrow. And that's all I have for today's video, so I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful, and if you did, please give me a giant thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, just hit that thumbs down button. And until next time, bye!